Bonfire Premier Cup Series. This is your admin, Kevin Kyle, and I am proud to introduce to you your Season 12 primary sponsor, Animal House Customs. Get your favorite iRacing League logo or anything you can dream of on any hat or patch. Animal House Customs has a stitch for every itch. And in order to scratch that itch, visit animalhousecustoms.com or you can call Animal House Customs at 985-222-8065. Once again, that's 985-222-8065.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BRL, the Bonfire Race League. We are here on the last stop of our West Coast swing for some right turns and some crazy elevation changes at the beautiful rolling hills of Sonoma Raceway. I'm Zach Panzarella, and I've got my partner, Mean Gene Money, here with me today. How you doing, Mean Gene?
Oh, man, I am psyched. We're out here in wine country, having a few drinks, getting ready to see some fired-up action at this ridiculous Sonoma Raceway.
That's true. I mean, it's not often that I'm drinking at 10 a.m., and especially wine, but when you're at Sonoma Raceway, I mean, when in Rome, right, me and Gene? So not only do we have delicious wine at this racetrack, but we have twists and turns, and we have, like I said, elevation changes all over this track. For a road course, this track definitely has some of the most hills, turns with really, really gnarly elevation changes in the middle of the turns that can really upset these cars. Definitely a unique road course. And I'm excited for this one, me and Gene. How are you feeling about Sonoma today?
Well, this is a tough course. You figure this is the third time in 12 seasons that we have seen Bonfire put this onto their tour. Season 10, 2 years ago, last time we saw it. It can be a rough one, especially when you've got those two uphill turns, almost S turns, right at the very beginning, coming after that start-finish line.
Yeah, huge braking zones, and right in the middle of a big elevation change makes the car very easy to upset, very easy to get loose, and oftentimes once that happens, it's all too late, and you really can't bring it back. But let's talk about some drivers, because I'm looking on screen right now, me and Jane, and I'm seeing the guy that I was going to bring up already, and that is Jason Landry. This guy is an unbelievable road racer. On iRacing, you have something called iRating, and basically what that is a calculation of your skill. A lot of other video games, not video games, sims, use the same structure, and you have a different one for oval and road. So while there might be a maximum iRating to be in this league on the oval side, that doesn't apply to road. And what that means is sometimes, Mean Gene, you get yourself a Jason Landry, a 7K iRating monster, someone who came from the roadside and has recently transferred over to ovals and has all of these tracks circled on his calendar when he starts the season.
Yeah, Jason Landry, and he's got a little bit of momentum also. Last week, he was the fastest. He put down that fastest lap. But, you know, he wasn't the best, right? He wasn't the best in Season 10. I think he got second, isn't that right?
He did. Jason Landry was not able to get it done last time we were at this track. He did come in second. And not only that, he was a couple seconds behind our winner, Jared Kelly, another exceptional road course racer, someone who's been trained in the art, is always a contender when we come to these turns, or these tracks with right turns. And so Jared Kelly in the field today as well, another driver I definitely have my eye on. It's really between that 55 and the 56, coincidentally, one number apart.
Yeah, if you want to go back and think about what happened 2 years ago when they were at this track, Buddy Sully, he's not racing today, but Buddy took the pole. Buddy led the most laps. And then he had some pit shenanigans. The guy actually drove past his pit stall and just sat there wondering what was happening as the crew did not work on his car. Then he came out on those cold tires and managed to wreck. Still got third, Buddy Sully did, but that opened the door. That let Jared Kelly take the win. Jason Landry, second place. Last year, 2 years ago, 18 cars ran in that race. Only 4 finished on the lead lap. I wonder if we're going to see that kind of dominance by the fastest drivers again. 24 guys in the field today.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. I know we're expecting a competition caution about halfway through, a little bit past halfway through this race. So that could keep a little bit more cars in the lead lap, because you do, like you see at these tracks often, a lack of cautions. A spin will not bring out a caution. It really takes full track blockage, and they're very, very rare to see. So oftentimes what that means is cars can get lapped. The deltas between lap times typically are pretty big at a road course. You could have a Jason Landry or a Jared Kelly putting down 116s, 117s, while other guys will be putting up 120s, and that adds up quick. So that is definitely
these lap times. I'd be happy with those lap times. I'd take a 125 if you asked me. This thing can get ugly, and the track is so slick. If you go off of the course, especially on the outside, you're just going to slide right in the wall, and that's the end of your day. No fast repairs here in the Bonfire Race League.
Yeah, you really got to do your best to protect your car here, really keep it healthy. Whenever I'm coaching my guys on my team on road courses, I always tell them the same thing. If your ultimate speed, so as hard as you can go, let's say it's a 118, then run 119.5 around there in the race. Run 75%. Whatever gets you comfortable to where you won't make mistakes is how you're going to do well in these races, especially if you don't feel like you have that raw speed yet. I always tell them, one mistake can cost you 2 or 3 minutes plus the damage you're going to incur that's going to make you slower, while maybe being a second or two slower than your ultimate time, but minimizing those mistakes, that will not add up as badly. That will end up being a better time at the end of the race. So this one, I agree, me and Gene, it's all about keeping that car clean.
What kind of coach are you? Do you coddle your guys, or do you coach them like my dad used to and say, there's no way you're my son? You didn't come from these loins.
You'd have to ask them. You definitely have to ask them.
So,
I'd assume of a good combination.
So they could come from your loins, but you're still disappointed.
Exactly.
Interesting circumstances today. 24-man field. That means we are missing some primetime players, specifically Christopher Smurrell. He's currently 5th in points, not going to be starting. Justin Malarkey, 8th in points, not starting. Dennis Puckett, 10th in points, not starting. Brandon Shelton, 14th in points, not starting. And those are especially interesting with Puckett and Shelton, being as it's a 12-man playoff field. No win and you're in. So really taking a chance here, missing the road course when those two guys are down in 10 and 14.
Yeah, I mean, that's not uncommon. You typically see smaller fields at road and street courses. A lot of guys not super used to this type of racing, or just didn't feel like they put enough practice to really make it worth their time, or to where they can really complete a lap. I mean, typically for me, someone who loves road courses, loves these tracks, it usually takes me about 30 minutes to complete one lap when I'm first learning a track. So if you didn't put in the work, I think oftentimes people feel like it's not even worth showing up. But this is going to be a great points opportunity for a lot of guys in our field. A lot of guys who had the guts to show up are going to give this all they have. I mean, they're going to get a 20th place out of this, and that's points, me and Gene. So that's going to help them
out. What about the tournament? Not showing up, you just get eliminated. Whereas if you would have just showed, you could have gone up. Specifically, look at the number 10 matchup right there. Dennis Puckett, rookie Gerald Rose. Rose is running the back all day long. That guy showed up to race today, and Puckett not showing up is just going to let that rookie advance without any kind of competition. Another rookie that's also going to advance is Bennett up in that number 6 matchup. He's with Christopher Smurrell, and Michael Benton just going to get the walk, get the wave around.
Yeah, wow. I'm looking at that bracket as well right now. A lot of stories there. A lot of guys that, you're right, are just going to advance by virtue of just showing up. So good for them, and hey, who cares? So yeah, that is our...
You'll get eliminated at Kansas.
Exactly. Go do that instead. But hey, I mean, anything can happen at Kansas too. That's a fun track. But hey, yeah, that's today is the beginning of our in-season tournament. We'll be looking at that bracket for the next handful of races. And yeah, a lot of stories through this one, a lot of fun things that we're going to get to see, and a lot of guys who, get to advance simply by showing up. As we see our 56 bringing in the pits today. If you guys were wondering, we are actually doing an open qualifying format right now. That's why you're seeing multiple cars on the track right there. As you see Kevin Kyle still on the track putting in laps. With an open qualifying format, typically you can put in still about 2 to 3 laps. You just have to do it within the 10 lap time they have, but you got to do it with other cars in the track. So you really got to find that clean track for yourself. We're watching Michael Medina, or David Medina, I'm sorry, right now. I don't know why I always want to call him Michael. But David Medina right there, not what he's dealing with is really not what you want when you're qualifying. A lot of cars in front of him, a lot of traffic, making it a little bit more difficult to put in that hot lap.
Yeah, interesting you brought up Kevin Kyle. He had a neat week at Auto Club, did he not, on Sunday? Kevin was up in the front and decided to put a blocking move on Jason, got turned and created a huge wreck. Remember, they had that 5-lap shootout, that big wreck occurring on the last lap, took out a bunch of the field, and that's what allowed some guys to kind of move up in the field last week. So Kevin, he's going to be looking to build a little bit more than what he got last week. One thing's for sure, I don't think he's going to throw that Lego block out there the way he did last week.
No, I mean, last lap, he was going for it. He had the speed all day, and I'm sure he thought that win was right in front of him. Watching him on screen right now, not seeing it quite on his lap times yet. If you look to our left side, hopefully this will be a better one for him. But visually, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Kevin Kyle, not someone I've seen race on a road course before, so this will be new to me. But he is looking good out there. He has that next gen underneath him, that 31, looking good. Let's see what he puts as he crosses the line. That's better for Kevin Kyle at 14th. But man, Mean Gene, like we talked about, I was a little bit too nice about those deltas, like you said. I'm seeing 4 seconds, 6 seconds, slower lap times for later in the field. So yes, cars are going to get lapped today.
Yeah, his practice was pretty good. Kevin Kyle, he put down the 6th fastest practice lap, 1:18.5. But yeah, that was 2.8 seconds off of what Landry did. Landry just has that half a second over Kelly and Medina. Joe Vulpes and Kyle Lynott also with good times. So Gulf Coast Racing guys trying to chase down some of them Folcom guys. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Interesting that the bigger name teams are out there putting down these faster laps. I wonder if they just share that data.
Yeah, I mean, the cream really does seem to rise to the top oftentimes at these road course races. Talent really shines through. I also know there's been a lot of practice put in by guys like Kevin Kyle, Joe Vulpes, a lot of guys on my team as well. I know for a fact Kyle, I think, has hosted 2 3-hour sessions to practice. These guys are putting in the work, and it's showing as we have our qualifying standings up on screen right now. Taking the pole, no real surprise there, Mr. Jason Landry with a heater of a lap, nearly a second faster. In second place, Dave Medina. Dave Medina, we've been talking a lot about him. He's been the fastest car on ovals so far this season. We are curious to see how he can turn right. Clearly, he knows what he's doing here. Jared Kelly, another driver we talked about, in 3rd place. Last time we were here at Sonoma, he was our winner. So Jared Kelly picking up where he left off here in 3rd place. Kyle Lynott, another guy who is a great road course racer, the last road course winner in this league. Wasn't at Sonoma, but it was in this league last season. And then in 5th place behind him, Joseph Vulpes.
Yeah, Joe Vulpes, he's looking to put down some serious laps and get a good run here today. Joe, he's been very successful on the intermediate courses. So road course, I talked with him. He said this was a real good opportunity for him to get the job done today. He knows he's a little bit behind the winning race speed, but with a little bit of modification on the track, and who knows, tires, no tires. There's some strategy out there that could be found for that guy. 7th place, Matthew Smith, David Owens, David Brenner, who is the real David. There can only be one. Nick Mills, Sam Milliken. So really got a good field here. There's Jose Medina starting in 12th. He's going to be making his 2nd start. He's a rookie. Alex Hillman, another rookie right there, 13th. Those guys were really fast in practice. Also, David Buell, and 15th is going to be Thomas Pierce.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of guys who like road courses in that top 15 right there, me and Gene. In 16th place, we got Stephen Neal, Edward Peltz in 17th, 18th, one of our rookies, Enrique Mandela Sr., 19th,
and our sponsor.
And our sponsor. And our sponsor. We will talk about that. 19th, Chris Smith, one of our really, really fast drivers in other leagues, in a 19th place qualifying. 20th belonging to Michael Benton. 21st, Paul Ferrandi. 22nd, Matt Schofield. 23rd, Tommy Fox. And in 24th, I believe, rounding out our field, not putting down a time. Our last 4 drivers there, either not putting down a time or having an incident that cost them their lap. Gerald Rose rounding out our field.
I saw him in practice, the 251. He was around that last turn, and then he got a little tap from behind, and that made his lap not eligible. So he wasn't able to put that 130 up on the board.
Sometimes the back is the best place to be in these races. Let all the mayhem happen in front of you and drive around it.
It's going to be an interesting field, though, especially at the very beginning when they're so packed up tight. And let's not forget, there's going to be that competition caution at the end to tighten up the field and make this crown jewel event all that much more interesting. Lots of work done behind the scenes by the Bonfire admins to get this race well attended. Road courses historically not getting high attendance. 24 cars, a good field. But bravo to Kevin Kyle. We've got the in-season tournament and this competition caution at the end. So even if you're lagging behind with 11 laps to go, they're going to pop a caution. and you can tighten them back up, and maybe you could make a chance to make a name for yourself.
Yeah, Kevin Kyle's done a phenomenal job adminning this league and making sure that the fields are consistent no matter where we are, and really putting some meaning to this race to try to help out the field. And we've seen it. We've seen the fruits of his labor, and here we are with a great sized field as they're rolling off here at Sonoma. So before we go green, me and Gene, let's take this time to thank our sponsors that make this race possible. Animal House Customs, thank you so much to you guys. You saw their commercial in the beginning of this broadcast, but here they are again today, making this possible for us here at the BRL and allowing me and Mean Gene to be here, giving you guys the production value that we have and taking our time on these Sunday afternoons to cover this awesome racing. And it's all because of awesome sponsors like Animal House Customs. So check them out on their website. They do amazing work, and they are definitely an incredible sponsor that we're very lucky to have.
Yeah, these guys do patchwork. They do custom hats. You saw how large their work area is there. I mean, they got multiple machines that they can work on for you. And I think I even saw a video game in there. I think I need to go by and take a visit just to
I know.
Try to put up a high score on that machine.
Right? I actually print shirts and clothing myself, and I can tell looking at that commercial, they have some of the nicest equipment out there, so their stuff is going to be as high quality as it gets.
So they're winding around right now. You can see the cars taking this opportunity to heat those tires up. Tires, that'll be interesting. I don't think because we're wondering when they'll wear out. I think we're wondering if you even need to take any.
Yeah, with a 40-lap race, it's going to be interesting, me and Gene, because I do think some people, you can take off so much time off your pit stop by not taking those tires. But man, will you be dealing with something as this race goes on. As here we go around this little apex, our final corner, me and Gene, as the pace car is off, and Jason Landry getting ready to lead this field here to green at Sonoma Raceway for some right turns through the rolling hills of California at one of the most beautiful racetracks you'll ever see. And Jason Landry leads them to green with a great jump.
Wow, look at him pop out of there. Medina is going to try to keep it close. A little bit of a blink from Jared Kelly. These guys are staying together. Great motion and awareness up there by that top six. A little side by side. You can see David Owens going around that inside as they come up that uphill escalating.
Oh, we got a car around already, Mean Gene, through there at top of your screen. We got a car around.
Oh, that's Hillman. He's not happy.
Alex Hillman on turn 2 spins it around a little bit overzealous. I was going to say, if you look throughout the rest of the field, you're seeing everyone really taking it easy right now, really trying to keep the car underneath them and just get their positions probably later in this run, but first get some heat in those tires and understand how to race around this many cars at a tight racetrack like this. Alex Hillman, I think, getting a little bit too overexcited there, bringing it around, and now going to spend the rest of the race working through the field playing catch-up.
Yeah, car right in front of him, Thomas Pierce, had some fast laps early on, but to see Thomas running back there second to last, he's right behind Michael Benton. Wonder what happened to him at the beginning. I think we're going to see some aggressive driving out of that 46, trying to close in on the field.
Jared Kelly already putting a world of pressure on the 9 of Medina, taking the outside through this little apex right here. Good job by Landry. And Landry,
you see Lynott here?
Yeah, and I heard Landry on the radio there, Mean Gene, as we look at the lead. He jumped the start. He's trying to give the lead back to Medina here, but now this is fair game. He can go back for it, and he does. Landry, what he did there, that is fair game. He gave the lead back to Medina, or at least gave him a chance. He let him go side by side with him, and he immediately took it back. You see that type of stuff in Formula One sometimes. And Jason Landry going to start to drive away as Jared Kelly. What a gorgeous move to the inside of Medina. Nothing Medina could do about that. That was picture-perfect textbook by the 55 of Kelly.
Well, he's going to need to start making that car go forward because he's got Joe Volpus chasing him down from behind, and right behind him, Kevin Kyle, David Owens. So there's a lot of speed starting to chase these guys down. Hopefully Medina doesn't get off pace too much. Medina really known for turning left. Now he's got to turn right. He's got 2 wins in the first 4 races. Oh, is that Lynott again?
Is that Leno? Let's see. What number is Leno? Or Lynott, sorry. He's 900. I believe that was Mean Gene. It was. That was Kyle Leno in that awesome-looking Mustang. He brought it around through it. I think that was the S's. That is a tricky part of the race course. Kyle Leno, not with the start he's looking for. He also someone that I was going to say to keep our eye on. That is not how we want to start this race. Positions there.
Yeah, he's down 11 spots right now. He's running in 15th.
And he's going to bring it in. He's going to bring it in, Mean Gene.
Wow.
So Lynott must have collected some damage from that wreck. I'm looking at the car. I'm not seeing... Oh, yeah, the front right jacked up a little bit. Definitely up on the track. Let's see if Lynott wants to even call this a day, or if he wants to try to get this fixed, but not the start that we're seeing a few of our fast road course specialists have right now between Hillman and Lynott.
Yeah, really unfortunate here.
Those stripes make it look like an actual like street Mustang, doesn't it? That's such a cool. So Lynott, he's getting it fixed. He's going to stay in the race.
Good for him. Getting kind of tight as we look through the field. Oh, the 46 gets right into the back of Tommy Fox. That's going to cause the 33 to panic. He takes it off the track to avoid all of that. That's Paul Ferdiani. Tommy Fox off the pace a little bit. So a little bit of action there in the back as well.
Pierres misses the corner entirely off the track. He goes in back on the track into the 33. Oh no, Pierres. Yeah, wow. We've seen that corner already collect a few victims, Mean Gene.
Well, you know, accidents happen out there. Hopefully these guys are going to keep a level head and we won't see anything else develop out of that foolishness. And looks like now they're going to continue to be foolish.
Pierres hard in the wall, and the 33 and Pierres get together again. That was, that looked like hurt feelings a little bit, Mean Gene. The 33 for Randy and Pierres having all types of trouble right now. That is going to be huge damage for both cars. That 46 is destroyed. I would not be surprised to see him bring in the pits here. Yes, he is. That 46 is not looking good. The left tire is not even moving anymore. He can barely get it through the pits. Oh, boy. A lot of these guys put in so much practice, and just like that, Mean Gene, their race is over.
4 laps into it, your day is done. It's so hard, though, to accept the fact sometimes that if you go off the course that you just need to pull it to a complete stop and let the cars go by, especially here. If you're sideways, it can be really difficult to see.
Or if you make a mistake, Mean Gene, and you put some heat in those tires, you've got to give the car time to cool back down. You can't just keep going as hard as you were before. The car's mad at you. The tires are furious with you. You got to give them a break. And a lot of these guys...
The 965 of Chris Smith, he's on the radio. He said, well, usually I'm a magnet for that stuff. He's got to be happy.
I mean, it's nice to have it not happen to you. Man, I'm watching Jason Landry right now. And God, this guy is fast, Mean Gene. He is just incredible to watch.
Yeah, putting down those 116s. Right now, top 3 cars are within that 116 range. But then look at that, 3 seconds slower. Joe Volpus, Kevin Kyle, David Owens. That's 3 seconds a lap. That is an amazing break-off, considering you're talking about top 5 cars.
Oh, yeah, it really is. And really impressed with the 55 of Kelly. Keeping the pressure on the 56, staying in his mirror, not letting him go more than about I'd say about a second away from him. But definitely that 56 sees that 55 in his mirror, and it's not making him any more comfortable. Definitely probably the reason I think we're seeing Landry really send it right now. He's driving hard around this racetrack, and it looks pretty, but it can't be easy.
No, and you figure Landry's got a little something to prove. He finished second last year, but Buddy Sully walked away with that season 10 bragging rights, I guess, since he got the pole, went the fastest. And if it weren't for the shenanigans in the pit, theoretically, Buddy Sully was the car to beat. So Landry's got the ghosts of Christmas past on his shoulder, and he'd love to prove that he is the road course man here in the Bonfire Race League.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a big source of pride for guys like Landry and Kelly to take these wins and show that you can turn right and that you're one of the most talented drivers in this league. I mean, it is objectively and indisputable that if you are good on road courses, you are an extremely talented driver. So it is something that a lot of drivers like to show off when they're good at it, and it's a big source of pride to get the W's at a racetrack like this. And Mean Gene, let's look at our left side of the screen right there at our pylon. What did we talk about the deltas in these lap times? Look at how far back the 4th place of Volpus, the 5th place of Kyle is. The 6th of Owens is 20 seconds behind our leader. We are on lap 6.
Yeah, Landry just laid down a 1:16.57. That's the fastest lap of this race for anybody. How about Jared Kelly? The guy put down a 1:17, and they're telling him, hey, you just lost a half a second.
I know. You finished the race, or you finished the lap. You're like, that one felt good. And then you look in front, and you're like, where'd he go? It is so frustrating, but if you're Jared Kelly right now, I'm assuming what's going through his head is, okay, that 56 is crazy fast. Let me not make a mistake trying to go for a lead that may not even be obtainable right now. Let me just get in my groove, expand this second place, so I have such a big second place that I can maybe go a little bit harder later in the run, and I can afford a mistake if one does happen.
Yeah, and pit stops are going to come into effect. It might not be for tires, but fuel will be a necessity for these guys. So we will see those green flag pit stops because, of course, they just do the cautions in the corners unless something amazingly ridiculous happens.
Well, if you can make it 30, which I'm not sure if you can, I might need one of our producers to let me know if you can make it 30 laps. But if you can make it 30, wow, as Jared Kelly almost gets destroyed by a lap car right there. That was close. Sure you didn't love that.
Nope, here they come. It's lap car time.
Yep, he already is dealing with them, and he was coming through the S's, and that lap car did not commit to a line, and Jared Kelly had nowhere to go, and they just made a good amount of side contact, but looks like no harm, no foul as the 55 continues on. But yeah, if you can make it to that lap 30 comp Kosh, I think you absolutely do, me and Gene. You don't bring it into pits yet, especially if you want tires. Okay, so our producer just letting us know that it's 12 to 13 laps per fuel tank, so I just wasted your guys' time talking about that. Never mind. They definitely are going to have to bring it down. So what I do, me and Gene, wow, I'd probably not take tires until that lap 30 caution if I were to take them at all. Just can't afford that time during a green flag stop.
Well, you figure also with that caution that's going to come out at 11 laps remaining, with the 3 laps of caution, you're looking at an 11-lap shootout. I don't know if I'd want to take tires later and then have to run the first few laps of that 8-lap shootout on cold tires. I would lean more towards I'm not taking tires, period, or maybe I take tires on the first stop and then ride it the rest of the way.
Right, or you don't take them on the first stop and you start to get the vibe from the field. If cars are passing you really quickly, all of a sudden that tells you they took tires. So then you take them on that second one that you have to do in that green flag pit stop, and you don't take them under the yellow. Maybe get some positions there. A lot of different options here for our drivers.
Ooh, leader having to get around another lap car, and well, a nice crossover there, knocking the hell out of the leader by the 251, but Landry manages to get around that without incident. Here comes Jared Kelly, his turn to deal with the rookie. Looks like he's going to duck right under him. Clean pass there by Kelly. He might make up a little bit of time on that exchange.
Jerry Rose just doing all you have to do as a lap car at a road course, which is be predictable. Oftentimes, light up the radio, let the lead lap car or either ask them where you want them or where they want you to be or where you're going to be. That's all you really have to do, and it's kind of in the leader's hands from there to figure it out.
Really spread out now as we're looking at these lap times. There's a little bit of a gap between almost everybody all the way around the course. So these lapped cars should be spread out at least for the first couple of pit stops, unless we just see Landry and Kelly start chunking the field.
Yeah, it's already starting to look like an open track day here at Sonoma, isn't it, Mean Gene? Just a bunch of cars scattered throughout the racetrack. No one really having to race each other right now. I'm going through the field and not seeing a ton of side-by-side action. The closest thing we have right now is Medina having to lap Gerald Rose. But beyond that, yeah, you're right. This is really where you start to race the track, not so much your opponents. And the best way to get positions and to get to get a good finish is just to minimize those mistakes. As we do have a little bit of action here, as we see Hillman working on the 7 of Peltz. These two actually race in another league together, so they're very familiar with each other. As Hillman making quick work of that number 7, making his way through the field after that early accident by Alex Hillman. A very good road course driver, though, so I expect to see him back in the top 15.
Yeah, Hillman had a really good run last week. So we're accustomed to seeing him have good runs. Oh, a little bit of excitement right there. That car turned right, didn't it?
Yes, it did. It turned right when it's supposed to turn left.
What do we call that, snappy?
Yeah, snappy indeed. And we're going to see just more and more of that as these tires get older, these cars get more and more difficult to drive. It's definitely probably going to also dictate if these guys want tires or not, just based on what they're feeling out there, right? If it starts to get miserable and they're missing more corners than they were before and they're finding themselves making more mistakes, then you might be able to minimize that time by just taking the tires, right? Mistakes, like I said, they cost more time than nearly anything else.
Tell you what, we're here on lap 9, and we've already seen the leader lap
misses the corner.
Car 19. So 18 cars now on the lead lap. Tommy Fox being shown as the first car on the lead lap. He's moved up 5 positions to be 18th, but that is not going to be good enough as he's got Jason Landry and Jared Kelly bearing down on him like a tsunami.
Yeah, and we just saw the 33 of Ferrandi miss that same corner, Mean Gene. It's that really, really sharp one. It's a downhill, and it's right before you enter the S's, and it's a really, really aggressive braking zone. It's actually, when I go to this track, this is a track that I love. I go to here every year. I haven't missed this place in, I think, 5 years now. That's where I sit, because that's where most of the action is. That's where a lot of the passes happen, and that is where we're seeing a lot of our drivers make mistakes today.
Yeah, Ferdiani, he's going to take it easy through there. Lets David Owens slip by without incident. David Owens currently running 6th. And then you're going to see David Brenner, Nick Mills, the next 2 cars that are going to come up behind the 33 of Ferdiani. Ferdiani, remember, he was in that incident with Thomas Pierce there at the beginning, so he's probably milking injured car.
Yeah, Ferdiani, exactly. Likely dealing with some damage. That car probably not driving the way it did in the beginning of this race as he misses that corner again, and now he's going to enter the corner that's given him so much trouble today. And really back it down so the 22 of Brenner can get by him. But yeah, Ferdiani having a hard time. I totally agree, me and Gene. I totally agree. As he misses the corner again, that same corner.
It's just not turning right for him.
It really is. And me and Gene, every time you do that, it's an incident on the iRacing system. Every time you go off track, I believe it's 1. And if those add up, you can get a drive-through penalty for that. And then after you've gotten your drive-through, if you continue to do that, you can get disqualified from this race. So he needs to clean that up. He needs to stop doing that, even if it costs him a lot of time, to really just park that car to make that corner. It is what it is, man. You've got to keep it on the racetrack.
Lap 10, we got Chris Smith coming in. Chris Smith is in the 965. He's already being shown 1 lap down. This is lap 10, so perhaps he's just choosing to bring it in early. Gas only, Chris Smith back on the track.
We also have Kelly, who has already brought it in. He's re-entering the track right now. I believe trying to bring it in a lap earlier than Landry is, trying to see if he can get an advantage that way. It looked like that was a quick stop for Kelly, so I believe he may have just gotten fuel there. I'm trying to pull up my data so I can double check. Yeah, fuel only. I just had that confirmed for me by our producer. So that is a good move by Kelly. Just trying to do something different than the 56 says. Now we have the 56 bringing it down the pits. I'm assuming going to mirror what he saw Kelly do and only take fuel.
And that is going to allow David Medina to bring it around. And let's see if Medina decides to pit at this point as well. And he does. So these guys must be talking to each other because we see leaders now taking that opportunity to bring it in. Joe Volpus, next car has to make that decision.
Yeah, and also these guys on the tail end of what we heard, they could make it on fuel. So likely running it dry. I don't think many of these cars are going to be able to bring or leave it out here for much longer than they already have. As you see Medina and Landry getting their services done, and Landry re-entering the track. Still going to be ahead of Kelly, I believe, but it does look like it's going to be a little bit closer as you see Kelly towards the top of your screen trying to reel in Landry here. Yeah, definitely. A little bit of a net gain there for Kelly. Not enough to take the lead, but nonetheless, that's going to help.
Yeah, very interesting strategy. The other thing that was funny was to watch Landry come around running side by side with Joe Volpus, who still needed to go into the pit. So these cars really starting to push away now.
Yeah, they really, really are. I mean, I think you said last time you were here, 4 cars finished the lap. Would not be surprised if we see the same thing happen today, and I think we know who those 4 cars are going to be. But, man, that 56 of Jason Landry is just on rails. That thing looks perfect. And it is just so impressive to go as hard as he's going while not making mistakes.
Hey, speaking of not making mistakes, how about Jose Medina here? He's in his second Bonfire League start. He's up 8 spots, running 4th. Now, granted, there has been some pit stops, but Jose proving that he can turn right just as good as he can turn left. And this rookie making some waves right now.
Yeah, Medina doing a fantastic job in this race so far. He's kept it clean so far. Has a great looking race car today. And yeah, while he is a rookie in this league, we've been calling him in a lot of other leagues we broadcast, and we've seen a lot of good speed from him. I don't know if we've seen him turn right yet, so this is impressive. I knew Jose had this in him. It's going to be interesting to see how he can keep it clean for the rest of this race, but doing a fantastic job so far. Yep, he's going to bring it in this time, so you were right. He had that 4th place off the virtue of staying out a little bit longer than everybody else, but that it'll be curious to see where he cycles out. I believe he started somewhere around 11th, so Jose Medina having a good run so far.
Yeah, really nice to see how these rookies can compete fast rookies right now. Jose Medina and, of course, Ricky Mandela Sr. He's running that 3 now, but Ricky's still in his inaugural season here, Bonfire Race League.
Yep. A little house cleaning on the 33 for Randy. He is still in the pits, so he is actually going to, looks like, fix that car, getting the repairs done to it that are probably making it drivable. I don't think he was having a ton of fun anymore with the way that car was handling. I think that's the right call, so we can go back out there and start putting in some solid laps and getting track position again that way.
Yeah, it's got to be painful if you ride it out and it's no fun and just collect those incident points and maybe even risk that DQ.
Definitely. A little more house cleaning. Kyle Lynott looks like he has called it a day. Thomas Bieres has called it a day. He was who we saw in the incident with the 33 earlier. So this track already collecting a few victims, and you look at somebody like Gerald Rose, who said, yeah, I think he was one of their first cars to get lapped, but he hasn't made a mistake yet, Mean Gene, and because of that, he's in 19th place. He's got himself a top 20 so far.
Yeah, he's moved up 5 spots. Chris Smith, the other rookie, also being shown on that lead lap, but I'm sorry, being 1 lap down, but only to those top 3 cars. Landry, Kelly, Medina, so fast right now. Joe Volpus, he came through the pits. Kevin Kyle also had to pit, but Kyle did get by Joe Volpus, so good move there.
96 misses the corner again, that same corner, Mean Gene, that death corner, and almost collects a few of our faster cars, but able to bring it back on the track safely. Man, if we just had a camera on that one corner, I think we'd see a car go off every single lap. People are really, really struggling on that sharp downhill before our S's.
Hey, some good action right here. Kevin Kyle, Joe Volpus making a battle of it. That's going to be for 4th and 5th place. You can see Volpus in that 07 pulling up tight on the 31 Toyota of Kevin Kyle. So this is one of the fun races we're seeing right now.
Yep, and here comes that corner, Mean Gene. So this is the corner that everyone's struggling in. Let's see if they can both keep it straight here. And that's how you got to do it. Volpus a little bit, you can't really see it, but he went a little bit deep in there. He did an amazing job of gathering it back up. And here they go through the S's. You really can't pass through here. You just got to kind of follow the leader and try to set it up for that apex we have coming up, that really sharp corner. A lot of drivers will tell you this corner coming up here is one of the best passing opportunities on this track. That and where we're seeing some mistakes. So here we go, Volpus right here. Needs to line it up. Needs to try to get himself to the inside. That is perfect by Volpus. Kevin Kyle closing out the inside, seeing the move, and giving the position to Volpus, actually. And say, you know what, Volpus, I feel like if we race each other, we can make contact to ruin both of our races. You take it, and now I can be the one stalking you and making you nervous.
And David Owens is behind them thinking, no, boys, go ahead. Show me how it's done.
Exactly.
I like the Wreckfest video game. Please,
Volpus,
continue.
Volpus said, Owens just say, no, don't just give it to him.
Yeah, race forward. Great move there by Joe. Kyle, discretion is the better part of valor. And Kevin Kyle letting Joe Volpus go by. No need to ruin your race here on lap 16.
And here we go on screen with Milliken getting lapped by the 55 of Kelly. Kind of racing him, I'm not going to lie. I'm not sure how much the 55 of Kelly is going to appreciate that as he sends it in deep there to get the pass. Jared Kelly actually told me not very much. Then yeah, that is a crazy situation you have to deal with sometimes at these road courses, Mean Gene. It's hard to make passes, especially at that side of the, or that part of the racetrack. Kelly was just that. But Milliken's not having a bad day, even though he's getting lapped. He is not having a bad day by any means. So he is not super interested in pulling over for Jared Kelly.
No, he was trying to fight it and last as long as he could. Lucky dog, gonna be an issue, but it's so hard to get back around this track. So that does lap up to 12th place, the 11th place car of Alex Hillman, now the last car on the lead lap. And no sooner do I say that than Hillman also gets eaten up. So that means Stephen Neal running in 10th. Just 2 corners ahead is the first car, the last car in the lead lap.
Yeah, Alex Hillman really just gave that one to Landry on a corner that wouldn't really affect either one of their speeds, so they can both go on their merry way. Hillman having to be very wary right there, having that 17 of Milliken just breathing down his neck, so he had to make it quick with with Kelly to make sure he can get past him and also not lose time to the 17. So great job by Hillman. Hillman is doing a fantastic job recovering from that early mistake. He is already up to 11th place where he started the race, so no harm, no foul. Just took him 17 extra laps to get there.
Right now, he is the hard charger. Also, another hard charger we could talk about is the 61 of Matt Schofield. He is running that 61 Toyota currently. He is 7 spots better than his initial starting position, trying to chase down David Buell, and he's got the rookie Mandela chasing him down. They are spread apart, but really good day right now for Schofield, showing us that he can turn left and right.
Yeah, Schofield, another one of our rookies, doing a great job. You wouldn't know what that yellow race car he's driving. You can't see his rookie stripes as he lets Medina go by there. Our lap car is really being courteous with a few exceptions, but for the most part, being very, very courteous right now, keeping this race clean, giving the lead lap cars the room they need to complete quick and easy passes, and that's what you want to see as a lead lap car. Schofield right there really over-sent it in the corner and almost sent it in the tires. Did a great job saving it. But I'm loving what I'm seeing from our rookies here, me and Gene. We got an exciting rookie class here, full of talented drivers who are really showing week in and week out that they can handle anything this league throws at them.
Yeah, it's nice to see the league continue to grow and see also these veterans just putting down better and better laps. But that's how those rookies and all the field is going to get better. Race against guys that are better than you. Run the practice sessions. They are more than willing to give you the tips inside of Discord. They're always talking, and they're talking to anybody. They're talking to rookies. They're talking to veterans. I mean, unless your name's David Owens, they're going to share their secrets with them.
Yeah, that's the facts right there.
David, I'm just kidding. David, also a really competitive racer, also very free-flowing with the information that he has at his disposal. So really a nice open league, very competitive league, but these guys want to make you faster because it's more fun when they whoop your butt and you just put down your best laps.
Yeah, definitely, and this is one of those races where a lot of times, too, you're just learning from the top guys, too. You're watching the way they get around this track and just trying to get some pointers and things that you can apply in the future. These races, for a lot of these guys that are, further back in the field, the guys 15th back, getting lapped, and at this point, kind of just trying to stay out of the way of lead lap cars. It's not fun in the moment, oftentimes, Gene, but you leave these races, and after 40 laps at Sonoma with no yellows, you're going to be like, wow, I'm a lot better driver now because of that, because I put myself through that. The next time you get to an oval, you're going to be like, gosh, this is so easy. I don't have to turn right anymore, and I'm not getting loose out of every corner. I'm not getting loose in every braking zone. Gosh, this is so much easier. So it really is put yourself to the fire.
And I'm not getting lapped on lap 15. This is way better.
That's it.
9 cars on the lead lap. Jose Medina now trying to hold off the charge of the Canadian Landry. Landry, that chip on his shoulder is screaming. Ooh, that was fun.
Ooh, yes, it was. And here we go into the most difficult part of the track, as Medina did let him go, but didn't make it as easy as possible. Again, Jason Landry and Jared Kelly are in the part of the field where the guys you're lapping, Jose Medina is in 9th place. He does not care about the leader's race. He's happy about his 9th place, and he's concerned about staying in 9th. So you are in the part of the field where these guys do not care about you lapping them in terms of them pulling over. They're running their own race. They think they can win it if something happens to you, so they're not pulling over for you.
I'll tell you who's got to be having an interesting day. That's David Medina, currently running in 3rd. He is 20 seconds behind Kelly, but he's 26 seconds ahead of Joe Volpis. So this guy's out there listening to Lionel Richie, easy like Sunday morning, just trying to hit his marks and continue around there. But that's the anomaly of these road courses. If you are on pace, you can just road out burners and eat the field alive. And it's funny to see a guy like Medina put laps out there, 119. His best was a 116, but yet himself 26 seconds off the pace.
I'm assuming for Medina, when he hit that 116, he was probably thinking, oh, God, that was hard. That was difficult to do that. And when you're 20 seconds in front of you and 20 seconds behind you, what's the point of pushing it, right? Dial it back to where you're not losing any time to the cars behind you. But if you're not gaining on Jared Kelly anyway, what's the point of risking a mistake and losing that 3rd place? I have a funny story about that one, me and Gene, too, kind of the race that Medina's having now. I was in a road course race in another league a couple of years ago, and it was a league where I oftentimes wasn't running up front, and a road course was an opportunity for me to run up front and be on the broadcast and, get some airtime. And I ran 5th place the whole race, and exactly like Medina is. They were 20 seconds in front of me and 20 seconds behind me. And the whole time I was happy about it because, it was an easy race for me. And when the race is over, I hit up one of my best friends. I'm like, was I on the broadcast? I did so well. And he was like, no, they never went to you. You weren't doing anything. I was like, oh, God.
You're not on the exciting cam.
Exactly. I was like, I literally was just out for a drive. Oh my gosh, your car goes off in front of Medina really, really hard. Really big wreck in front of Medina.
Terrifying.
Oh man, that must have been horrifying for Medina. I apologize, I don't see who that was. Trying to figure out who that was, who just had a massive hit on the, it was Matthew Smith. Yeah, he's in the pits now, the 69 of Smith. He came out of those S's, Mean Gene, and that car just didn't turn. It just went straight into those into those tires, right in front of David Medina. I cannot imagine how scary that was for the 9 of Medina. I would have definitely assumed that car was coming back on the racetrack.
That's a tough break. Matthew 6 was running up there in 12th spot, starting to fade back right now. Hopefully, if he needs to, he can bring that in and get a little bit of repair. Because as we've seen, you lose the ability to turn right very quickly.
It's in Mean Gene, and I don't think it's coming back. That hit was enormous.
You think he's milking it around just to get in back to the pit?
It's in the pits now. He's in the pits now, getting it fixed.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and he brought, and luckily where it happened was towards the end of the racetrack, so he brought it straight in. But he has yet to leave. The car's not even on the jacks yet. It's just getting fixed. It's going to be, in my opinion.
Oh, Michael Benton. The 69 of Michael Benton.
Yes, sorry. I apologize.
I'm looking at Smith thinking, that guy's doing good, though.
No, yeah, you're right. I had the number right, but not the driver. I apologize.
They got it. They got their numbers back and forth. 69, 96.
It's true. Yeah, exactly. That's my excuse.
Yeah, they're doing that. All right, but up front still, 4-second gap. Jason Landry still laying it down. Jared Kelly is putting down burners. This guy would be in first in so many leagues out there, but he just cannot make this 55 car go any faster to try to close the gap on Landry. Gotta be frustrating. Joe Vulpes, he's still back there 3 seconds ahead of Kevin Kyle. David Owens, Brenner, and Nick Mills trying to shut that gap down as well. But interesting to see Vulpes, Kyle, Owens. That's a little group that we could pay attention to. And then Brenner and Nick Mills right now getting close enough to maybe have a little bit of competition.
And here comes Kelly into the pits as well, Mean Gene. Jared Kelly bringing it down. That is a little bit early from what I would assume. But Jared Kelly bringing it in nonetheless is going to be, I would definitely assume, fuel only. And not just fuel, Mean Gene, but a very small amount of fuel. All the fuel you need to get to that lap 30. We're assuming these guys will bring it down one more time to put in enough fuel to make it to the end of the race. But if you're Jared Kelly now, it should be about a 4-second pit stop. You should be in and out of there very quick. And about Jared Kelly real quick, we were just talking about Medina and how he can kind of just cruise, 20 seconds in front of you on both sides of you. You might as well just cruise. Jared Kelly, however, that 4-second gap to Landry, that's enough. If I was Kelly, to be like, I am pushing this thing as hard as I can. I want Landry to look down at his relative every lap and see that I'm either right there or he's not pulling away from me. So that's the one thing that I think Kelly can do to win this race is keep Landry on his toes. Don't let Landry get comfortable. Make him race hard to where he can potentially make a mistake. That is why I think Kelly really needs to continue to push that 55 car around this racetrack.
Yeah, it looks like the 31 of Kevin Kyle's deciding to bring it in as well. So these fellas must be communicating with each other with some kind of special Folcom network of race strategy. Landry still staying out there. He's closed the gap now. He's got that number 20 and Nick Mills right in front of him. He passes by Nick Mills. That means there's only going to be 6 cars on the lead lap.
Yes, he does. He's trying to pass by Nick Mills. Nick Mills, again, like we talked about, saying, I'm in 8th place, man, and you figure it out. As there he goes, makes the inside work on Nick Mills. Nick Mills doing a fantastic job here today, running in 7th place right now. So Nick Mills with a great run. And like we anticipated there for Jared Kelly, 6.3 second pit stops. That is gas only. Same goes for Medina, who also, Medina is yet to bring it down. His last one was a 6.6, so gas only last time he was there. I'm assuming to see identical pit stops this time. Would not be surprised to see that 56 bring it down this time around.
Wow, I'm sitting here looking at the gap between these cars and seeing how far ahead Landry currently is. Realistically, a minute 19 ahead of Mills. That's pretty much how long it takes him to get around the track. Next guy up, David Owens, only a minute 7 ahead.
Wow. So, oh my goodness, that was a moment there between the 3 and the 56. And Well, Jesus, Landry, and he pits anyway. That was something indeed. Jason Landry just not willing to to take a millisecond longer than he has to around this racetrack, and he has all the confidence in the world. Like I said, I think this will be a quick 6-second splash and go for Jason Landry to go and make it to the end of this competition caution and maintain his lead.
Now, let me ask you this. At some point, once the leader does make that pit, does that close the pits going into that competition caution for the rest of the field?
If Kevin Kyle, our admin, decides to do it the same way, and speaking of Kevin Kyle, he just jumped over David Owens in the pits. So check that out. Kevin Kyle getting a position on Owens through the pits. So I'm thinking Owens must have not had the entry that he wanted, because he has brought it down, as has Kyle. And Owens now behind Kevin Kyle. But sorry, to answer your question, Eugene, if it's anything like a stage caution that we run in MRL and BRL when we do stage cautions, the pits close 2 laps before you throw that caution. So they would close on lap 28 when the leader crosses the line. And what that does, especially at a track like this, me and Gene, is we see it all the time in NASCAR when they're running their stupid stages on road courses, when people will pit with 2-3 laps left in the stage right before the stage ends, and that will allow them to jump the entire field and lead on the inverse of that caution and kind of decide between stage points and a shot at the win. Don't think we'll see
Interesting right here. I'm getting an update from David Owens. Apparently he had an extended pit stop because he was scheduled to take 4 tires, but because of a software issue, one of his add-ons, it gave him the time penalty of tires, but he didn't actually get the tires. I'm gonna have to get a little clarification on that, but he was in there for a 4-tire pit stop, took the time of a 4-tire pit stop, but got none.
That's bizarre. I'm looking at, I mean, you can tell me what your data says, Mean Gene. I'm looking at my data. That's not what I see. I see a 6.1 second pit stop. Maybe it glitched out so hard to where it even on the data end, it's not showing correctly. But yeah, I mean, nonetheless, why would he take tires even if he was going to? Our producer telling us 1 second slower through the pit lane for Owens, and that's what I thought may have happened, just a bad exit or entry into the pits. Easy to do at a track like this. Very unique, because that first corner, correct me if I'm wrong here, that first corner, you're not on pit speed yet. You can floor it through there, and then where those cones are, towards the top of our track, top left right there, you'll see them right there. That's where you actually, I believe, have to slow down to pit road speed. So you can get a lot of time by ripping that corner, I believe.
Meanwhile, look at this. Vulpes, Kevin Kyle, and David Owens all very tightly packed in. Cars coming out of the pits also making that exciting. And you know what? I'm going to make it even more exciting. Guess what? They're coming up on lapping that rookie 251 car. So this is about to get really interesting between Vulpes, Kevin Kyle, and David Owens.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, it's going to get spicy, isn't it? Gerald Rose, hopefully lighting up the radio, letting them know, I'm going to go high here. Please don't kill me. And Gerald Rose is going to take the bottom there. Hopefully keeps it up high. Just be predictable, man. That's all you want. That's all Vulpes wants. And you know that Kevin Kyle is begging Gerald Rose, do something crazy so I can catch up to Vulpes.
And Owens back there thinking, I'll take anything at this point, coming through this hard S right now. Look at Vulpes getting held up. He can't be happy. Finally makes it around. Doesn't look like it killed him too much on time.
Gerald Rose doing what he has to there, which is holding his line through the S's. The S's, whether or not it's a lapper or it's a for position, Mean Gene, it's not the place to pass. It's just really not. Too many bad things can happen as Gerald Rose just locks it up all the way around that corner. Those tires were not moving.
No.
Look at this.
Owens is caught in it.
We got our leader in the pits, Mean Gene. So, wow, I said this wouldn't happen, but it is. And I said, maybe I should have explained this more. Do you want a chance at stage points or do you want a chance at the win? So this is what Jason Landry is doing here. He is coming in, getting that fuel in the car, and so is Kelly behind him. The 55 of Kelly is in the pits as well. I like this move from the 55 and the 56. Pit road is now closed as the 56 crosses the line. He is our leader, so that closes the pit road. And the 55 with a brilliant move. He was in the pits with enough time to make sure that he would not have to get penalized for the pit roads closing. But what this is going to do, Mean Gene, this is going to guarantee that the 55 and the 56 maintain control of this race after the caution. Everybody is going to bring it down besides these two. And I think they were probably worried about someone else doing what they just did, and they did not want to deal with having to pass them once we went green. So Landry and Kelly doing an amazing job of maintaining control of this race.
Yeah, that's just that strategy that you see. These two guys are not teammates, but yet you can see them running that same strategy. Medina behind them is a Fulcum guy, and then you can see the Gulf Coast team, Vulpes, Kyle, Owens right after that. So the top 6 all constitute 3 teams. Still, the big teams being able to take advantage here on this most difficult road course here at Sonoma.
Yep. You want to see something absolutely insane about what just happened with Landry and Kelly? I don't want to say it until I'm 100% right that I'm correct about this, and we're about to see it, as Landry is going to take the last corner of this racetrack, Eugene.
Hey, look, people going in the pits. Not a good time, guys.
Not a good time. That's going to be a penalty. Let's see here, Eugene. Was I right about this? Jason Landry from across the start-finish line. Unreal, Mean Gene. They pit and they kept the lead. Are you serious?
That's just speed.
That is Formula One status. Like, at the end of this race, Landry and Kelly could be like Max Verstappen and be like, I'm going to take an extra set of tires and try to get the fastest lap. Under green. Like, this is insane. These two are just the class of the field. No one has anything for them. It is such a flex to pit and then come out 8 seconds ahead of third place.
Wow, just seeing dominance here. We knew from the data that we had looked at from last year that the elite cars would dominate, and that's exactly what we're seeing here today. Right now, Medina trying to get around the rookie Mandela. Mandela goes high, lets him go through. But amazing to just see those cars, the ones that we thought were going to dominate, absolutely lay down these amazing track times. Still, other battles still going on the track. We see Vulpes finally pulling away from Kevin Kyle. David Owens right behind Kevin Kyle. Little gap to Nick Mills. So there's still a few battles for position on the track, but on the whole, we're just seeing testing session by these faster guys. And now Mandela's in the pits. Not the time, buddy. Not the time.
Oh boy. I don't know what that penalty is, Mean Gene, to be entirely honest with you. I think it's going to be a hold or a drive-through. I could be wrong. I don't think it's going to be a drop to the end. I think it's going to be worse than that.
I think it is you got not a drive-through, but an actual stop.
A hold, yeah.
A hold, yeah.
That's brutal. I mean, granted, at this race, it's not going to cost you a lap, or if it does, who cares?
And that's what's happening right there. The 251 is coming in for his hold right there.
Oh, okay. So that's a good move by the 251 to serve that now before the field bunches back up. That's actually really smart by the 251. I like that a lot. As you see Kyle bringing it back around, I believe this will be the caution here. Kyle able to hold off Owens. Great job by him. But like you said, the 07 of Vulpes, I think with the 31 and the 11 battling, was able to just pull away and really gap them and give himself some breathing room away from that little battle over there. As it appears, we are under caution for our scheduled competition caution. So I think we will see third on back pit here, Mean Gene.
Yeah, those two front guys are just going to keep that advantage. Question is anybody going to risk getting tires at this stage of the game? There's 11 laps to go, probably going to be 8 or 9 green flag laps. Do you really want 2 of those laps to be on slick, new, cold tires?
Yeah, I do wonder, and as you saw, Landry and Kelly both faking. I wonder if the guys like Medina and Vulpes and Kyle even know that Landry and Kelly just pulled that off. I wonder if they're like, well, they're screwed. They're not going to get enough fuel, not even knowing that these guys pit and stayed in front of them.
No, they're too far ahead. I bet they're not even on their radar. Well, I shouldn't say that because we're going to group back up. You're going to group back up, and then all of a sudden you can say, oh, that's what the back of the 55 looks like. I haven't seen that car in 30 laps.
Seriously. These guys have just been absolutely just putting it on the field. They've been unbelievable. And yeah, now they get to maintain control of this race.
Yeah, it looks like gas only for Medina.
Oh, and poor Edward Peltz. He's looking at these two in front of him and thinking, what the hell, guys? Why didn't you pit? I thought I was gonna get the wave around, and now Peltz stuck behind them. Not gonna get his lap back. Gonna have to go to the back of this field. Oh, that's annoying for Edward Peltz.
Now we will get a lucky dog, and I want to say it is the 17 of Sam Milliken. So we will have 9 cars on the lead lap once we go green.
Yay, that's more than we expected, Mean Gene.
That's why Sam was so hard.
Yeah, why not? I mean, you do want to battle for that lucky dog with the amount of the amount of laps we have left. I don't think anyone else should be going a lap down. Especially not anyone running in the field where Milliken is. So that definitely was a big deal to him to still give himself spots to get on the lead lap. Because, yeah, if you are Jose Medina in 10th place, our first car 1 lap down, unless we get one of those really rare cautions, we're kind of stuck battling for 10th, right? 9th is no longer available to you.
That's right. And if you're Sam Milliken, just finish the race and you got a top 9.
Yeah, you have a top 5 possibility if some mayhem happens in front of you with some lead lap cars.
It would have to happen right on this restart. These guys spread apart so quickly. Landry Kelly left the field. Medina seemed to just be in that neutral zone. And then Vulpes, Kyle, Owens. Those 3 could put up an interesting battle. David Brenner, he fell off of the pace early, but then was running similar lap times throughout the rest of that. So if Brenner can avoid whatever mistake made him lose those 3, it could be interesting to look at 4th through 9th. I'm going to give Sam the benefit of the doubt. We'll say 4th through 9th ought to be an interesting little battle. Plus, those lap cars aren't going to just let you leave and say, okay, now we can fight too. No, they're going to be battling. Alex Hillman is a fast guy. Medina, we've seen speed. We already talked about Schofield and Stephen Neal. I mean, the speed Neal showed last week when he did 100 spins going through that crash at Auto Club. So there's a lot of speed still out there on that track.
Yeah. Shout out Steve Neal as well. Exceptional drive from him so far. 13th place, doing a great job. I've watched Neal through the years really, really improve his craft on road course racing. You can tell this is something that he's spent a lot of time on and is doing a great job, and he's now getting to enjoy the results. Nothing to shake your head at a 13th place in a race like this. 40 laps around this track and keeping it clean, very, very good. As the light's still on our Porsche pace car, which is never going to be not weird to say in a NASCAR race, right?
Porsche.
A Porsche pace car.
Say it. Porsche.
Porsche. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. You got to be that guy.
Look at that 911.
And also car. You can say it's a white Porsche. You can't just say white.
White.
Yeah, it's full European here. We all have cigarettes with the little plastic attachment.
Oh, yes. Those like little filter things they love.
Yeah. Oh, my Lord.
Oh, man, we have too much fun in here. Well, me and Gene, this is going to be an interesting one. It's going to be, I'd be shocked to see the lights not go out here, as looks at the 96, hoping to get that wave around the pace car. I think he came out just enough time. Let's see. Yes, he did. Good for him. So here we go. 1 to go until we go green here again. And good luck to Jared Kelly against that 56 of Landry. And like you said, Mean Gene, I have my eyes on that 4th to 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th battle, starting with Joe Vulpes. Those guys are very even, and those are some pretty valuable positions in front of them. And also, Mean Gene, not to mention, you can go kind of hard as long as you don't destroy the car. Keep it on the lead lap. God forbid if you do spin, you should only go down to 9th, right? So go for it.
Yeah, exactly. As long as you don't take yourself out of the battle. Going to be 6 laps at the end. So these last 6 laps are brought to us by Animal House Customs. If you need some work done, these are the guys to get the job done. Animal House Customs. Check them out online.
Awesome sponsor. Beautiful race car, and that I believe is a 3 of. Is it 3 Mandela that's driving that Animal House? No, it's not. I saw a beautiful Animal House Customs car.
Yeah, that's him right there, the 3 of Mandela.
Yeah, there it is. Look at that thing. That thing is beautiful. I don't know why in my mind that was blue for some reason.
Now he did make that mistake though. He pitted when the pits were closed, and that's going to force him to the back. Looks like he is going to be starting in 20th. So he's going to have a little bit of space he's going to need to make up as he is starting at the very end of the line once we go green.
3 laps down, Mean Gene, with the only other car 3 laps down, the one in front of him of Gerald Rose. So he is racing for 19th place. And that's
2
it.
rookies.
Yes, sir. And here we go, lining it up to go green for what will likely be the last time here at Sonoma. It's going to be Jason Landry leading Jared Kelly here up the hill. And again, that top 9 guys on the lead lap, they're going to be going for it. But man, will anyone have anything for the 56 as he launches? Great launch by the 55 of Kelly. Jared Kelly, we heard Landry actually did jump the initial start, so probably a little bit worried there to be a little bit cautious, and Kelly almost able to take advantage of it with a great start. As you see Kevin Kyle a little bit high there as we go through the corner and down the hill.
Ooh, Mandela cutting through traffic, smashes right into the 57 of Fox. Rose gets caught up into that as well.
Oh man, Mandela, why?
Mandela gets through it. He gets that thing rolling. Looks like Rose and then Fox. Okay, back to the front. Let's not talk about 19th place.
Here we go into the killer corner. We have Brenner and the 20 mil side by side. Great job by both of them to keep it on the bottom. No one overshooting the corner on the lead lap there. Great job by everybody as we go through the S's.
Yeah, top 9 trying to make it as competitive as they can. Field behind them still looking to close the gap. So Milliken off the pace. He's still trying to catch up. He's just happy that he's on that lead lap, and that's what he's working on as far as his final position goes.
David Owens completes the pass on Kevin Kyle for 4th place as well, Mean Gene.
That's the battle we were going to talk about, was Vulpes, Owens, and Kyle. But right now, Medina's still in the picture. Look how close Vulpes has that Jack Daniels Ford right behind Medina. Medina needs to dial it in and check out on these boys.
Vulpes has figured something out on the latter half of this race. He has just really been putting down heaters ever since he was really in front of that pack of Kyle and Owens and had to drive away from them. He has just been fantastic. And now look at this, like you said, having enough speed to stay with the 9 of Medina and really trying to put some pressure on him and make a move to grab the podium position in this race. Great job from Joe Vulpes so far today.
Yeah, they're slowly starting to spread out, but Medina just cannot get away. Vulpes closing greatly on that turn right there as they're going to head into the S's. Medina much better at rolling and gets that acceleration speed, that exit velocity. But Vulpes, he showed what an expert he is coming up on this hard U that they're going to be facing at the end of this S's.
David Owens was completely sideways, out of control into the killer corner. He did a great job of gathering it back up about mid-corner and kind of just sliding it through. But Mean Gene, keep our eye on that downhill corner before the S section. If there's a mistake by one of our top cars, it's going to be there. These guys still not comfortable in there. I think still dealing with a little bit of cold tires, trying to get some heat in them. As we only have 4 to go now. Landry doing a great job holding off Kelly, putting about the same amount of distance that he's been able to on Kelly all race, and trying to just drive away in the sunset. Kelly right now maybe just locking in, thinking, okay, screw it. 2nd place it is. Let me just not make a mistake and lose this to Medina.
Yeah, he's got about the same distance ahead of Medina that he has behind Landry, so you might be on to something right there. Medina now finally dialing his car in and pulling away from Joe Vulpes. Slight lead for Vulpes over Owens, and suddenly we turn our attention to Kevin Kyle and Nick Mills and David Brenner as the tightest battle on the track. That's 6th, 7th, and 8th. And you know Nick Mills has got to be happy improving his position, starting position 3 spots, currently in 7th, but he's got his eye on that number 6 position of Kevin Kyle.
Yeah, we've seen Nick Mills be a lap down today. Now he is back on the lead lap in 7th place, battling for 6th with Kevin Kyle. Mills has done a great job today. Oh my goodness, completely sideways through the end of the S's there. Look at that. That was an awesome bit of driving by Mills. He's really just going for it right now. And he is just like Vulpes, really grown as this race has gone on, gotten faster lap after lap, and now finds himself in the top 10 comfortably, battling for a chance at a top 5. Great run from the 20 of Nick Mills.
Yeah, he is slowly moving up. This news, it looks like Matthew Smith has brought it into the pits. That is the 96.
Okay.
Not good for him. Maybe something's wrong with the car.
The announcer Jinx lives. And
So that might give Mandel and Rose a chance to move up a couple of spots.
yeah, free positions. We got 3 left. Yeah, they're gonna get those spots. They will, Mean Gene.
Man,
Lot
Matt Schofield up 10 spots up in 12. It's good for him.
Yeah, a lot of just attrition, and because of that attrition, Mean Gene ending up in good finishes. Steve Neal now, he's going to get himself a top 10. Great job by him. Hillman in 11th. I'm assuming Hillman may have had an issue when we started that restart, as Neal was able to pick up, I think, 4 positions. Doing a great job. Our lead lap cars really getting some distance between each other, trying to make this thing a little bit more simple. It's really just Mills and Kyle having any sort of battling going on right now. And also joining that party is the 22 of Brenner, actually going to be looking to the 20, or looking at the 20 of Mills now in one of our passing zones. Will Brenner send it deep send by the 20 of Mills, really, really deep. That was nice by Mills. Kind of sacrificing a little bit on exit there, as you can see, not apexing the corner as nice as the 22 and the 31 did, but man, that send was deep, and he was able to use that to his advantage to hold off the 22 and get a little bit closer to the 31 in the process.
Yeah, Kevin Kyle had to be really nervous as those guys came in there really tight, but he was able to make his way through there, maintain that lead, and had that good exit speed. But as they're coming up through this elevated section right here, I think he's really got to be concerned, because one oversend by any of these guys can send it right into the back end. Remember, Kevin Kyle still licking his wounds after that late block at Auto Club, does not want to repeat, costing him positions.
No, not this late in the race again. You've worked this hard. Just get it home and protect that track position you have. Even if it ends up being a 7th instead of a 6th, that's way better than junking this car. But yeah, tons of pressure in the 31. The 20 just breathing down his neck. We saw how deep the 20 was able to send that U-turn at the end of the racetrack last lap. Let's see if he goes for it again. All he needs to do is get a good run on the sweeping right-hander here, Mean Gene, and he can set up the pass. And he's not close enough to Kyle. Kyle really strong through the S's as the white flag waves for our leader, Jason Landry. And right behind him, 4 seconds behind him, is Jared Kelly. Jason Landry, can you say enough good things about this guy today? This is a masterclass of road course racing. He made it look easy, but it is not, Mean Gene. I said it last week. I think we have 17 corners here at Sonoma Raceway, which to me is 17 chances to make a mistake per lap. You multiply that by 40. That's math I can't do, but he did not make a single mistake today. What a job by the 56 of Landry as we see this battle on the white flag for 6th, 7th, and 8th between Kyle Brenner, and Mills.
Wow, yeah, when they went into that turn 16, if there's 17 turns, they about touched. Mills and Kyle, they really want to touch. Mills goes inside, but Kyle's got speed on the outside, gets pinched, and Sam Mills. Nick Mills is going to take the position.
Kyle gets him back. Dive bomb city by Mills, and Kyle repays the favor. Kyle did not appreciate that move, Mean Gene. He did not appreciate it one bit. Will Kyle pay him back again? That was a dive bomb by the 20. It was a clean dive bomb, but it was a dive bomb. Be careful here. Here we go, side by side. Here around the track goes Jason Landry with a masterful race. Our winner today at Sonoma, the 56 of Jason Landry, as the 20 of Mills and the 31 of Kyle side by side, going to the U-turn. Who is going to grab this spot? Kyle might lose it to Brenner as well. Oh,
they
no.
made contact. Oh, he locks it
by the 20. A lock up by the 20. Kyle to the inside of Brenner. He turns Brenner. Oh, no. Oh, no. And Nick Mills gets the spot, wins the battle, wins the war, and in 7th place will be Kyle. And David Brenner, an innocent bystander, is going to get turned. Likely finish in 9th place is my guess. He's still turned around, making sure he doesn't destroy that car with a start-finish line right in front of him. And I'd be remiss to not talk about, sorry, that battle was so crazy. Let's shout out our 2nd place of Jared Kelly as well. Congratulations to Jason Landry on the win. And like you said earlier, Mean Gene, man, I'm sure Kelly thought it a million times today. If that 56 was not here, this would be the easiest win of my life. Because Jared Kelly was the class of the field if it wasn't for Landry. He had so much speed, and we talked about that I-rating that Landry has on road courses before this race started. It's ridiculous. It's up there with the best in the world. So Jared Kelly can really, really be proud of that performance today. Same goes with Medina Sr. He did a great job. He's our over mastermind. He brings it home on the podium. That's what you have to do when you're Medina trying to take home this regular season championship and put yourself in a great position for the playoffs and rounding out the top 5. 2 other disciplined and exceptional drives from Joseph Volpis in 4th and David Owens in 5th.
Look at, he's smoking him, though. The Canadian, he is your champion here today. Could not get it done in season 10, but he does this time. Also, hey, this news just in. It looks like after that pit maneuver, Kevin Kyle's application for state trooper has been accepted. So don't be causing trouble on the highways, or he will spin you too.
Oh no, Mean Gene. Oh no.
It was low-hanging fruit, and I made wine out of it.
I can't wait to hear Kevin's opinion on that. And yeah.
But Brenner didn't lose a spot. Brenner didn't lose any spots. Nick Mills, Kevin Kyle, David Brenner, just really hard racing right there. I didn't see anything dirty. Mills hit that wall, and when he came back up, that just kind of locked up Brenner and Kyle, and there was just nowhere to go at that point. So really racing. Let's see Landry on the track there. He's really going fast.
Oh my goodness.
He cleared it.
So if he's dead, does Jared Kelly win now? Oh, no, he's going to die too.
Yeah, I guess. No, wait.
So I think that makes David Medina our winner by virtue of the 55 and the 56
He's got to
being dead.
He's got to collect the trophy.
Yeah, I don't know if that's... Yeah, Medina, get over there. Those guys are funny. And we talked about elevation changes. How funny would that have been if someone accidentally got loose during the race and did that? That would have been the funniest thing ever. But
oh, my. Oh, my word.
I'm sure after putting themselves through that unbelievable amount of discipline and what it takes for the 55 and the 56 to put together the race they just had, I would also want to jump off a cliff and drive into a wall as hard as I can.
Well, there's our final standings, though. We talked about Landry, Kelly, Medina, top three. Vulpes, Owens, Nick Mills, Kevin Kyle, David Brenner. Ninth place, Sam Milliken. He was the lucky dog and did not catch back up, but hey, no one caught him. Stephen Neal, he raced for the first car lap down to 10th. Alex Hillman, 11th. Matt Schofield, great run for the 61, 12th. Jose Medina, second race here, 13th. David Buell.
You're off by one.
Oh, 13th. That's a starting position. Uh-oh. David Buell, 14, and Edward Peltz, 15.
Yes, Chris Smith with 16th. Tommy Fox over in 17th. Mandela, 18. Jill Rose, like we talked about, keep that thing clean. 19th, got himself a top 20, moves on in the tournament. Matthew Smith, 20th place. Benton, and these are all what one of my friends likes to call the used car lot. Michael Benton, 21st. Brandy, 22nd. Lanat, 23rd. And Perrine in 24th. Mean Gene,
Thomas Pierce, he was part of that early contact with Paul Federani. Him and Thomas Pierce were, I don't know what you would call that. It looked like that scene in Days of Thunder where those two guys were driving rental cars, didn't it?
A little bit of recklessness there. As now we have our points pulled up here. David Medina doing what he has to do to maintain that lead. That was a brilliant drive in terms of points racing to control what he can control and be very, very disciplined and ensure that he can protect that third place spot. And what that gives him is continuing to lead these standings. And behind him, much of the same. Jared Kelly, another second place finish, and that will maintain his second place in our standings, finding himself only 4 points behind Medina. Could do that math. Third place belonging to Brenner. Excellent driver right there. Brenner, been quiet, but really, really quick over here in the BRL. And you're seeing it in the points. Fourth belonging to Owens, one of our winners this season. Showing some consistency, but not really being in those podium positions week in, week out, the way our top three are. Then fifth, Jason Landry, today's winner. Landry has also been, even on the ovals, Mean Gene, always up front, but oftentimes finding himself in issues in the end of the race. I think he has a lot of finishes so far this season that aren't indicative of where he was running. And I think we're going to see Landry continue to be a big threat in these points as we move on.
I think it might be a side effect also of not being part of a big team. You know, the Folcom guys, they look out for each other, and so do the Gulf Coast guys. But
I mean, I'm looking at the teams, and Canada is a pretty big country, Mean Gene. And he has a whole country.
Yeah, and I mean their state application is being processed right now, but right now they're still on their own.
Very, very true. And yeah, and Canadians are also too nice, so they're not really as aggressive as the Gulf Coast guys are to really help out. So just a bunch of Canadians not really doing what they need to do for Landry. So you're right, that in all seriousness, not only is team racing very important, but it happens to be our top guys on the same teams.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and then speaking of, right behind them, Joe Volpus running 6th. There's Smurrell. He's going to lose 2 spots. He did not run today. That's the first guy we were talking about who ran and who didn't run. So Smurrell going to lose 2 spots there. Mandela moves up 1. Kevin Kyle moves up 3. And look at Nick Mills, big mover. He moves up 6 spots to take over that 10th position.
That's why you show up if you're Nick Mills. To go back to Smurrell real quick. When you look at that 2 spots, I think if you're him, you're probably thinking like, wow, no harm, no foul. That's not that bad. I didn't show up, and there's no drop race in this league. So only 2 spots. But, Mean Gene, what I'm looking at
Look at the points. Look at the points.
Read my damn mind, Mean Gene. Let's do some quick math again. That's 60 points. You are not going to be a regular season champion, my friend, because Medina isn't going to miss races. Kelly's not. Brenner's not. Owens, Landry. Good luck, man. That is the price you pay when you miss a race. Yes, you're going to hold on to a good points position by virtue of just being as good as he is, and he will likely still be able to make the playoffs. That's not going to affect his playoff hopes, I don't think. But yeah, you can kiss that regular season championship goodbye and all the points that come with it.
Yeah, and really, if you look at the top 4 guys, they're squeezed together. But then after that, Landry and Volpus, they're just going to have to go on some kind of magic carpet ride if they think that they're going to push their way up in there. Now, they don't need to. Remember, they just got to make it to the final 12 to be in that playoff picture. But still, those top 4 guys right now, they're just flexing.
Yeah, and pretty significant points do come with, again, I should probably explain this stuff. While I'm talking about the regular season championship, it's not just bragging rights. While it is awesome to win, it comes with very, very significant point implications as we enter the playoffs. And when you are in the playoffs, points are far harder to come by and way more valuable, especially playoff points. There's a difference between playoff points and points. So when we get to 210, or I'm sorry, when we get to the playoffs, that 210 that you see Medina have, that goes away. That is eliminated. That just resets at, I think, 1,000. I think it reset to 0. My producer clearing out for me. We get reset to 0, but the playoff points you earned, you will still have. So those wins. Oh wow! And I'm being told there's no playoff points. I'm just talking about nothing. There's no playoff points in this league. There's no playoff points in this league.
Hey, there's still bragging rights for the regular season champion.
Even the regular season champion, same as everybody else. Wow! So it really just is bragging rights. Okay. Well, with that said, I'm just gonna put the pressure on KK then. Dude makes trophies. You should at least get a trophy for it. Like, come on. Are you serious? If you don't get points, give me a trophy.
I imagine somebody will be a regular season champion.
Yeah, and now I have no point to say about that. In most other leagues, you get significant points for that. I apologize for being wrong about that. But yeah, the bragging rights. And now pulled up is our in-season tournament. So already updated. Shout out to our league admins for doing that so quickly. So let's take a look at this, Mean Gene. So first off, to point out, and again, correct me if I'm wrong here, but there were buys, right? Medina got a buy, and Brenner got a buy, and that was by being our top 2 points people going into this race. So Medina will now be matched up with Mills next week. That will be an interesting one. We are seeing Mills get more and more speed or week by week, so that's gonna be a fun one. And then in the next bracket below that, we have Milken versus Pierre's. That is about as even matched as we can think of. So we're gonna be paying close attention to that one next week. Next matchup is. Do you see that one, Mean Gene?
Oh yeah, that'll be fun. Look at that.
Oh, David Owens versus Kevin Kyle. Oh boy, 2 of the most friendliest rivals I know. That's gonna be a fun one. Can't wait for that one.
I'm gonna make it more fun. Wow. Next week they're at Kansas. Guess who won last year for Kansas? David Owens.
Oh, let's go. I can't wait for that. That's going to be a fun matchup. And the winner of that matchup, that's a heavy hitter one.
But you know who runs the high line better than anybody? Kevin Kyle.
Mr. Kevin Kyle. Yeah, he's the high line master. That guy's a beast up there. I cannot wait. In Kansas, yeah, you were right, Mean Gene. On the long run, that's where the speed is. Our next bracket down, Michael Benton and Matt Schofield. That's going to be a fun one as well. Schofield, a rookie. We're still learning a lot about him. Can't wait to watch him go against Benton. Those are right here in the middle. I mean, obviously, like most tournaments are, very even, very, very even. Next down, we have Lynott versus Brenner.
Let's go back for a second. I want to point out what made this. Benton got the buy to get by Smurrell.
Brenner,
that was that was a lucky thing. But if you look down below that, what Schofield did, he beat David Buell, and that's a big win.
That's a big deal. You're right. You're right. So yeah, you're
You know,
right.
for him to beat Buell, Schofield's flexing his way up into that second round. Benton can run the ovals
you're right.
pretty good. So, Benton's not going to be a pushover by any stretch of the imagination. But I just wanted to put out the Schofield flexed, to get by the higher seed of David Buell right there.
Yeah, and yeah, I misunderstood the buy. You're right. By Smorl not showing up, we essentially did get one. You're right. So I love that. I think like we talked about a little bit today too. A good run on a road course that just unlocks so much confidence. So much just I'm confidence. That's the word. It really, really I think will help him next week as we go to Kansas at a very simple racetrack compared to somewhere like Sonoma. Even for an oval Kansas on the more straightforward side, that's going to feel very, very easy. It's almost like when you're a baseball player, Mean Gene, and you're warming up for batting, and you have all those those weights on your bat, and then you take them off, and you're like, oh my gosh, this bat weighs nothing. That's essentially what it feels like to me when you do well in a road course and you go back to an oval.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, then below that, another great matchup between Brenner and Lynott. Excited to watch that one. Lynott was a guy I had my eye on today, but early damage and with no fast repair, understandably calling it a day. Cannot imagine how frustrating that was. Below that, we have Landry versus. Sorry, my screen is. Oh, Landry versus Rose. Who's gonna win that one, Jerry?
I'm leaning towards Landry. I just have a feeling that he's going to continue that hot run and not be content with just being a top 5 driver.
Yeah, I expect actually. I agree. Not just even much about Gerald Rose being a rookie and finding his way through this league, but Landry.
If Landry wrecks and pulls a 25th place finish, things change.
Yeah, it just has to be. He can't wreck with like 1 to go because Rose will be at least 3 laps down, so that won't.
Yeah,
give
then
him
it won't work out for him.
Yeah. just kidding. But Landry, I think is going to come into next week with a head of steam, thinking like, I just showed you guys what I am. Now you get to see me on an oval. And again, I've seen this time and time again. Mean Gene, the guys who come over from road who make the change to oval, they seem to learn oval at a really intimidating pace. I'm in another league with a guy who's very similar to Landry. He's like a 7K road racer, and he came over to oval, and you saw the raw speed right away. But as the seasons went on, this guy already, Mean Gene, he's like a 4,500 I rating on oval now. He's improving at a rate that is unbelievable to see, and I expect to see that with Landry, and I think that's because when you can rip a stock car around a road course like that, you can pretty much do anything, right? Like Martinsville isn't going to scare you that much anymore. Darlington isn't going to scare you as much anymore.
I think he's going to have some motivation too, because there'll be some talk in the pit. Jason Landry won, and people are going to be like, "Yeah, no kidding, he's a road course guy." That doesn't feel good. That's like being a Brazilian jiu-jitsu competitor, and people say, "Oh, you're so strong." They're taking away all of the skill and talent that it takes to maneuver that car. And so I wonder if he's a road course guy, of course he won. If you whisper that too loud, if that gets the earworm into Landry, I just think that's inner motivation on top of looking at the points, so that chip on his shoulder could continue to just push that guy forward.
Completely agree.
If he could get by Rose in the second round of Kansas.
that is step 1. You got to get by the powerhouse of Gerald Rose.
That's right. All right, so then what do we got? Kelly and
Kelly and Peltz in the next bracket. In the next bracket, Peltz having a great season so far. And props to Peltz for being in this tournament. Moving on, Peltz was able to beat.
He got the pass. He got the pass on Dumas.
He also got a bye by Virtue today. But hey,
he was the higher seed. He was the higher seed.
Yep, and he had a great run today. 15th today for Peltz is great. I raced him in another league at the Chicago Street Course 2 weeks ago, and Peltz was good there as well. He kept it clean. He was very respectful while getting lapped. Peltz, don't count him out. He's going to keep it clean. If something happens to that 55 of Jared Kelly, Peltz will be there, likely on the lead lap. So Jared Kelly, if he wants to move on in this tournament and have the chance to race a Vulpes or a Fox, he's going to have to just make sure he keeps it clean. But then, yeah, so our last bracket is Joseph Vulpes versus Thomas Fox. And let me tell you this, that one, I think if you look at that on the surface level, you might think, okay, Vulpes has got that. No. Tommy Fox has been very, very quick on ovals lately, especially tracks like Kansas. I run a couple leagues with Tommy, and that dude, his week by week performance is pretty intimidating. And not just that, what I'm seeing from Fox lately is his single lap speed is really, really good. In practices, he's always a top 5 guy now. He's having a hard time, or I don't even want to say a hard time. I think he's in the point of his iRacing life where he's kind of finding that phase in between that really, really quick single lap speed where you're up there with the top guys, but also being able to maintain that 30 laps, 40 laps into a run. But Fox is there, Mean Gene. He is so close to unlocking that next level of being a David Owens, a Vulpes, a Kevin Kyle, a Brenner, one of those guys. I don't think that last bracket is as clear cut as it looks. I am a big fan of Tommy Fox, and I really, especially in 2025, it's been fantastic. So that is our in-season tournament, and next week will be fun, and Kansas will definitely be a more unpredictable phase of this tournament than Sonoma was. While road courses give you a big element of unpredictability in terms of the incidents that can happen, like the one on screen with our leader, as he... What even is this an impression of? I guess like a monster stadium truck impression right here. Look at that.
Huh.
What if he landed this? Honestly, what if he landed this? I would say give him an extra one.
No, he did. He did. Like there's
No, like I mean on the tires. He was so close. But anyway, sorry, I got distracted there. Next week will be a little bit more unpredictable. Where I think when you look at a lot of those matchups on our tournament, Mean Gene, like I said, they look clear cut, but they're not. Kansas is a pretty gnarly track. The first 10 laps there are very indicative of kind of a plate track sometimes. It's hard to get separated there, and it can result in massive pileups. There's really close racing. I'm a big fan of that track, but it definitely will present a level of unpredictability that will make our point standings and our tournament very interesting.
Yeah, you know, you mentioned Tommy Fox. The guy's top 10 in points also. He lost, I think, 2 spots after the road course performance today. He got whacked on that restart. But that guy is up in the front. So if Vulpes doesn't have his P's and Q's together, and he could find himself on the outside looking in. I think that is a great matchup that we should highlight as far as all of the matchups that we were looking at in there. That is a very interesting one.
Yeah, and as we look on screen, and I just want to give a moment to say goodbye to Jared Kelly, as he that right there was the fatal accident that took the 55 away from us. We're gonna miss Kelly. He was a good guy. He's only in his early 20s, Mean Gene. Already, this cruel sport took him away from us. But he went out strong, as did the 56. But you're right.
He went out on his hood. He went out on his hood.
He did, or at least head on into the wall to the hood. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun week next week. I'm assuming Jason Landry already pouring in or already saying where are the beers and not here for the interview, but excited to talk to Landry. I'm assuming next week maybe we can get him pre-race or something, see how he's feeling, because I'd love to hear about a mindset. Like we've talked so much about the mindset after you win a race like that and how big of a deal that must feel like for someone like Landry, someone who's been there all season but not had the results to show for it, to come out here and put an absolute beat down. I mean, the words to describe what just happened are not PG, but beat down's the best I could say. So that's got to feel good for Landry, and I have my eye on that 56 next week and that 55 of Kelly if he's able to get to the hospital in time. That's got to make the 55 of Kelly super hungry, thinking like, okay, man, I guess I didn't have anything for you in your 7K I rating this week on a road course. Next week, I got you.
Yeah, these boys are definitely going to be targeting in on each other. And the thing we got to remember is a name we didn't mention, and it's David Medina. We've had 5 races. He's won 2 of them. This guy is like the left turn champion, right?
And he's led so many laps, Mean Gene, not just 1-2 races, but the ones he didn't win. I would definitely venture to say that this was the first race of the season David Medina didn't lead the most laps in. So definitely Medina will be back on top of our watch list next week. But again, Kansas, it's kind of a track that I guess I'll make a plate track comparison again. It kind of evens out the field a tiny bit. It's one of those tracks where I don't want to say, like at Daytona, where someone that normally runs 20th can win, but a 10th place guy, a 11th place guy, the top 15, anyone who can stay on the lead lap on a oval race normally can win at Kansas. So very curious to see what we see from David Medina Sr. next week, our resident dominator in this league. How many championships does that guy have in the BRL? 3. 3-time champion Medina, looking to add another one this season. And yeah, he is absolutely the class of the field when we're turning only left. So yeah, I'm sure he's eager to get back to Kansas and show off what he can do and get back on top and leading laps like we know we can.
Yeah, I don't have the whole story, but last year Medina finished 15th and was 4 laps down, so there was definitely some shenanigans there. Another thing we got to look at, there won't be 24 guys at Kansas next year. There will be more. So that larger field also creates the opportunity for some excitement. There's not as many lanes as we saw at Auto Club, but there definitely will be guys that are going to go their own way.
100%. As this league has gone on this year and this broadcast has grown a little bit, and a lot of that is because of VRL and our amazing sponsors, Animal House and Pocum. But the attention this has gotten, I've had a lot of my friends and acquaintances in the iRacing world hit me up and say, give me the details. I'm going to run Sunday mornings in this league. And a lot of them, Mean Gene, I was like, okay, cool. We're at Sonoma this week. And there a lot of them are like, okay, so next week, I'm really excited. Exactly. So next week, we're going to see some new faces. If you watch us tomorrow on MRL in the Cup Series, you'll see some familiar faces coming over from over there, I think, and giving their chance and throwing their hat in the ring in the BRL. And so, yeah, I agree, me and Gene. I'm expecting 30 plus next week. I'm expecting at least 30. I'm thinking 35, 36. It's Kansas. I mean, good luck making me not run that thing. I love that track.
They just got to get you up early. You need to get some wake 'em ups.
Yeah,
you like coffee? Do you like coffee?
I live in the East Coast, guys. These races are at 6 in the morning for me.
The
sun's not out yet.
They make some special. They make some special coffee though. What they do is they get the beans and then the monkey eats the beans, and then when the monkey's done with the beans, you get them back, and then you grind it up and drink that coffee. So maybe you could think about that. That's expensive coffee.
I've just been snorting the beans, and it just isn't giving me the energy I thought it would. And it's
the monkey beans.
Yeah, and I thought that would work. I thought that would get it there quicker, but it hasn't. It hasn't.
We'll work on it. But anyway, really great stuff today. I mean, just saw dominance, saw some close racing by some others, saw tempers flare a little bit. And we saw the first round of the tournament. I'm stoked, man. I can't wait to see this thing at Kansas next week, just to see what happens with the points with those top 4 boys. Can Volpus and Kelly close the door on those leaders, and who's going to advance in the tourney?
Yeah, I'm extremely excited as well. Me and Gene, all these awesome elements of this league that Kevin Kyle has brought into the BRL, including the in-season tournament, the different incentives to get different drivers into difficult tracks like Sonoma. We haven't brought this up. Last time they came to Sonoma, me and Gene, I think there was like 12, 13 people in the field. So this is a huge upgrade. And a lot of that credit, if not all of it, goes to Mr. Kevin Kyle for putting together a great league and really getting everyone involved. And when you do that, I mean, Gene, I guess it gives you the right to do what he did at the end. I'm just kidding. That was a racing incident between him and Brenner. But Kevin Kyle doing a fantastic job.
Admin prerogative. Is that what you're going to call that?
He's like, what are you going to do?
Admin prerogative.
We're going to penalize me?
No, I was in the channel. Kevin Kyle actually jumped in immediately with Brenner to make sure he understood it was not, on purpose. And once you saw the replay, Mills just tapped that wall. Everybody locked up, and there was just nowhere to go. We did the in-car cam on Kevin's car, and you could see he was locked up and turning his wheels, but
Yeah.
there was just nowhere to go. And long story short, since Milliken was so far behind the only other car in the lead lap, Brenner didn't lose anything unless you could have made your car phase and drive through Kyle and Mills in front of you. That you were not going to improve your position anyway.
Exactly.
But
and we talked about that before they went green, that was the time to take a chance like that. You're 100 yards away from the start finish line. Do it. If you spin out, you spin out. And I'm glad that Brenner didn't even lose that position to Sam. So yeah, it really is a no harm, no foul type of situation. I totally agree.
Yeah, and Brenner's going to turn around and he's going to take that momentum. Now he gets a little chip on his shoulder, going to go to Kansas. He got 7th out of 17 last year, but Brenner wants to stay in that hunt, and he's got to close that gap on Medina. So Brenner, all the Gulf Coast guys, all the Fulcum guys, as well as our one privateer who won today. We'll just have to keep an eye on this thing as it unfolds. And the tournament. God, I don't know why. I'm just so intrigued by this tournament thing, especially when you see rando names. I mean, depending on who wins between Benton and Schofield, a 20-something ranked guy is going to make it in the third round.
Yeah, I agree. I can't believe how into this tournament I am. I remember when the NBA introduced their in-season tournament, I was like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen, and I hate it. And then what was I doing 5 months later? Me and Gene glued to my TV, watching the in-season tournament, caring about who won. And I'm not saying I did not. That I think showed a lot of sports, including real NASCAR and this league. Like, oh my gosh, this kind of works. So when Kevin came up with that idea, because of honestly the NBA, I was very open-minded to it, and now we're seeing it right away. The results of it, and the battles within the battles. It's fun. It's cool. I'm sure there's a trophy at the other end of it with the best trophy maker in the game making them, and being the one that's the out in this league. So that's exciting. But yeah, I totally agree. Me and Gene. It's going to be a really fun thing to follow, and it's going to lead right into our playoffs. So right when that ends, we just get to focus on our playoffs and enjoy that. We have a lot to race for every week going on until we get to the last race of the season, for being honest. So I'm excited. Any more final thoughts before we leave this beautiful racetrack, Mean Gene?
No, I appreciate the West Coast swing. Auto Club last week and Sonoma today. So we're kind of doing it geographically as well. So our
Vegas too?
Virgin trucks didn't have to, in Vegas as well. So our virtual trucks didn't have to put too many miles on them. I'm looking forward to the big field again next week. And guys at home, thank you so much for tuning in and watching with us. Go ahead and hit like, subscribe, and tell your friends. And let's just keep this thing growing, man. So much fun, Zach. Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, thank you for joining me, Mean Gene. It's always a blast with you. Cannot describe how much fun I have in the booth with you. Another great lead that you and I get to cover. We are so privileged. But yeah, and I agree. That West Coast swing was a blast, and I love actually even though we're in the virtual iRacing world, I love that we're geographically making it make sense, because what that does do, Mean Gene, we run realistic weather on these races, so staying geographically relevant and consistent actually does make sense. We're going week by week and dealing with the same weather, but next week will be a different story. We're going across the country, I think. I don't know. I'm geographically stupid. But we're going to Kansas, which I know is far away because I've never been there. And I am excited, me and Jane. It's going to be another great race. Really, really high speeds, high stakes, no fast repairs, close calls. I'm excited, and so much on the line. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. The Bonfire Racing League, BRL. Thank you to Animal House Customs for being our primary sponsor for this broadcast. Check them out. Check their website. They do incredible work, and they are an incredible sponsor that we are very, very privileged to have. It's great to be able to have a sponsor that does such amazing work in real life, and it's so easy to back them up and really stand behind what they do as a business. So thank you to them, and very privileged to have them. And thank you all for joining us. Thank you to our producer, Jared Kelly, today. And thank you to Mean Gene Money, our commentator. From all of us over here at BRL, we will see you next Sunday. And we won't be in Sonoma anymore. We'll be in Kansas at the high speed, high banks of Kansas Motor Speedway. Thank you all, and have a great rest of your Sunday.